back to the beginning. Greetings and welcome to episode 145 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and that over there is Keith Robinson.
Hello.
Hi, Keith. We're in a time loop. Not really, but we're actually recording your audio now.
Cool.
Yeah. OBS.
So I think it's only the second time that this has happened.
Yeah, and at least this time it wasn't like all of the podcast. We only did like 10 minutes. And then yeah, I can see now that you're moving. Your bar is moving. All right, I can't at the moment because you're sitting perfectly still, saying nothing.
No.
You went up into the red and then just slowly went down into the yellow. How are you, Keith?
I feel like I'm trapped in a recursive loop. But apart from that...
Apart from that...
there will be no continuation of that statement. Let's roll into our pretty much just one barrel rolling story for this week, followed by a few bits and pieces.
I was going to say, it's like half a podcast about one thing and then half a podcast about everything else that happened. Because it's been a weird news cycle this week, Keith.
Yes.
Ever
changing, conflicting, and changing.
Yeah. Last Monday, well, when the podcast came out, we were talking about the rumor that there was a new game going to be coming out from the creators of Titanfall called Apex Legends. We also knew that this game was apparently going to be coming out on the Monday, so that we were talking about this rumor, and by the time the podcast would go live, we would know whether it was true or not. So between when we recorded the podcast and now, it's a game that's been out for a week that we've all played for quite a considerable amount of time, all things considered. And, we've streamed it over at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames.
And we won one.
And we won a match. Not live on twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Because that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
Like, how dare we play games for fun? not for a Twitch stream or anything like that. So, I've already asked you, you're going to have to do it again because we've already started the recording. How are you finding the game, Keith?
Well, I pretty much turned my Xbox on, it's on the front screen. But, I played it a couple of times. Battle Royales aren't really my shtick. I would probably be enjoying, if Titanfall, it was like Titanfall 2, much more. But, sitting down with my two mates, playing something, that's cool.
Yeah, there is something to be said about that. The whole playing, it's always going to be at least somewhat fun when you're playing a game with your friends, regardless of whether you personally enjoy that game or not. But at the same time, I feel like the game has to be at least decent for it to be if Apex Legends was crap, which is not. We probably would have played it for a bit and then not played it again. We would have just switched to Overwatch when we started having connectivity issues or something like that. But we didn't. We kept playing it, and then the next night, when we weren't streaming, we played it. That's what we got the win. We're probably going to go around to Russell's house at some point, and there's going to be a dent in his coffee table from where he punched the fucking table because he gets way too into these things. It was super awkward. Trying to run a live stream after Russell punched his coffee table in frustration because he takes these things really seriously. And Keith and I we're playing to win, but we're also having fun.
Yeah, I'm playing not to suck.
Ditto. Fist bump.
I think we need to make that some sort of t-shirt.
I'm just here to not suck.
We play not to suck.
We play it to not suck. That's awesome. So yeah, it's been a big thing. Apex Legends. The news cycle was very strange around it, in that new stuff was coming out about Apex Legends, about Respawn Entertainment, all the way through the week. Some of it was difficult to keep up with, which is why the first half of this podcast pretty much is just going to be about Apex Legends and Respawn. And just as a disclaimer, because of the way the news cycle works, where it's constantly being updated all the time, there's a good chance that I'm going to contradict. There's certain things in news stories that I got from earlier in the week that might contradict certain things that I got later in the week, such as player numbers and stuff like that. If that happens, I apologize. I'm not trying to confuse anyone, but that's just the way that's just the way a news story like this goes. It's not like normal where I'm getting it from one news article. There's like 5 or 6 news articles about different things. But anyway, Keith?
Yeah?
Let's jump into our first news story. Titanfall dev explains why Apex Legends doesn't have Titans, or wall running, or wall jumping. This is from Wes Fenlon over at PC Gamer, who writes, Apex Legends is Respawn's new Battle Royale set in the Titanfall universe, but it's definitely not a Titanfall game. The first and biggest clue, there are no Titans.
Mm-hmm.
There are no big robots to control in this Battle Royale, and you're not playing as a pilot, Titanfall's elite soldiers. That means Apex Legends is sadly also missing Titanfall's hypermobility, with no double jumping or wall running at your disposal. Why are these moves MIA in Apex Legends when they were so much fun in Titanfall? I asked Respawn Entertainment executive producer Drew McCoy, who said that in the end, those features just didn't mesh with making strategic Battle Royale combat. Quote, a lot of the stuff from Titanfall that was brought over purposefully. Our goals are really to make a masterable, learnable, deep game with a lot of strategy. When we first started making it, to be completely honest, we had double jumping and wall running. We had triple jumping for a while. We should have just been like, that's too far, that's too many jumps.
The next evolutionary step.
You're just flying at that point. Like, the next evolutionary step, you are Superman.
Let's go on after. I mean, like, I wouldn't be too surprised if like Ori or a game like that did triple jumping at.
Oh god. Oh, there is a new Ori coming out this year. I need to get my thumbs in shape. For that one. Anyway, where was I? We had Titans in tons of different forms. For us, we don't restrict ourselves when we're early on in a project about what has to be there. So even though we were like, yeah, this is probably going to be the Titanfall universe, we didn't put any hard requirements on what had to be there. While prototyping and playing and iterating, things stay or they go as a result of whether or not they're achieving our goals. Things like wall running and double jumping, they actually really hurt the strategic and learnable aspect of combat, because a player can get anywhere almost immediately. I did that the first time we did this. I made that exact fluff. So there's no thought process like, okay, I saw someone run around that building, now I know they're going to be in one of two places. No, with double jumping and wall running, they can be anywhere. End quote. End story. Keith, what do you think of the mobility and movement in Apex Legends?
It's the thing. I did notice that you and I was going to call Russell Derek.
So me and Derek, yeah.
Yeah. You did occasionally forget that instead of running down a hill, it was quicker just to slide on your knees.
It's not that we forgot. I know, because sometimes, yeah, I probably just went, I'm going to run to this building and just forgot to slide.
Yeah.
There were times when I remembered but purposefully didn't want to do it. Like, there was the match we won, where we were going down the hill towards the village, where the guys were on the very top thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't know they were up there at the time, but obviously that's where they were.
Yeah.
And for me personally, in my own head, because you went sliding past me, like as we were going down this hill, and I was thinking, there could be people in that house. Yeah. Yes, I don't want to So I was going rock to cover rather than sliding down the hill.
I find it usually because I'm normally in the back because you guys have decided where we're going. But
let's be fair. Russell runs off on his own a lot. Sorry, Derek runs off on his own a lot. Much to my frustration. Yeah. As I try to keep up with him.
These two will be in front of us and I'll just slide, and it's pretty much the only way I can catch up with these two is the fact that the two of you are just like hoofing it down this hill. And I'm like, well, just slide.
Yeah. If there is one thing I would critique Russell on, if he wasn't the kind of person who, punches his coffee table when he gets frustrated while playing the game, it's that, the ping system, which is amazing. Yeah. And I've got a video coming out talking about it later on in the week, but Like, the ping system's quite useful because I can go to you and Derek and say, let's go over here, and then wait for you guys to see if you want to come over there. Whereas what Derek does is he'll run halfway across the map to the next set of buildings while we're still looting, and then go, ping, let's go over here. And then when we look, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's in the far distance. He also keeps bombing us with his ultimate ability, but that's really neither here nor there. It makes very intense.
Yeah.
It's the Transformers quote you love so much. I hope if pilots have got good aim, I told them to aim for the purple smoke. You mean that purple smoke?
Not my best pro.
But yeah, anyways, to stop throwing shade at Derek, he will, doesn't watch this podcast anyway, so it doesn't matter.
The names have been changed to protect their identity.
Nobody will know who I'm talking about if I just call him Derek.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's a 3-player game.
Yeah. And we keep going about us partying up with Derek and stuff. To be honest, I think we'll still just think we'll be playing by ourselves.
Probably just thought we knew someone called Derek.
Yeah, to be honest, we have played with people called stuff like Red Bearded Fox before, so...
Foxes. But yeah, no, like, I get it, right? I can imagine Titans specifically would, it would be an entirely different type of game with Titans, with wall running, with double jumping, with all of that stuff. I miss the wall running. The wall running's a thing where it's like, I get why they didn't put it in there because, yeah, you got the strategy of everything, and it does feel really good to play, in the moment to moment, but, I can get why they've left it all out. For sure. There was also a quote I read from Drew McCoy in a completely separate article that I couldn't find ever again after I'd read it. Where he was talking about they did have Titans in. Yeah, there's so many Apex Legends articles out on the internet now. Where they were talking about how they had Titans in, and when they were trying to balance them, the only way to have them balanced would be to make them basically, I think his words were wet cardboard. And, I don't want that.
No.
In my game. When we played Titanfall and Titanfall 2, I didn't use my Titan very much. As a pilot, piloting it, I was the annoying bitch who would jump all over the place and run about and climb on your Titan.
You had yours on follow. So the only reason I know really where you were is because there'd be a Titan standing nearby, firing, and then it would just stop running off in a direction.
Yeah, I was the crazy one because I would see enemy Titans over there, and I wouldn't go, oh shit, and get in my Titan and start shooting or whatever. I would run on foot straight at them. I was nuts when I played Titanfall, but it was fun. It was fun, and maybe we'll be talking about Titanfall specifically in a little while. But for now, Keith, I'm just going to read the headline of the next news story. There's no point in reading the whole thing, which is... there is one paragraph I do want to read, but for other reasons. Titanfall Battle Royale Apex Legends hits 10 million player milestone in just 72 hours. 10 million people played Apex Legends in 3 days. Within 3 days. They had 10 million people played it. 10 million. 10 million. It was a million after 8 hours. In 24 hours, it was 2.5 million. And then it's getting exponentially bigger and bigger, the number. And then we've got 10 million in 72 hours. And to be honest, that was a couple of days ago. That was a blog post by Respawn and a tweet from Vince Zampella. God knows what the number actually is now. There's probably another news story that completely blows this number out of the water.
Yeah.
150 million people have played, but... Are there that many gaming devices in the world that can play Apex Legends? But no, it's nice to see Respawn have a successful hit on their hands after they got the shit end of the stick a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's like vindication, right?
Vindication.
You love Respawn. I love Respawn. I'm happy this has happened.
Indeed.
Okay, Teal. But there is one paragraph I want to read that just sums up how impressive that number actually is. To put Apex Legends' impressively swift 10 million players milestone into perspective, Blizzard's highly anticipated free-to-play card battler Hearthstone hit the same number within a month of its launch in 2014, while the full-priced Overwatch celebrated 10 million players after 3 weeks of release. More pertinently, however, it took Fortnite, the current uncontested king of free-to-play Battle Royale, 2 weeks to hit the magic 10 million mark. I mean, I am nowhere suggesting that this game is going to be bigger than Fortnite. That would be crazy. It could be. I don't think it would be. It's an outside shot. But the fact that it got to 10 million faster than Fortnite is quite... It's something worth mentioning. Because obviously both games are Battle Royales, both games are free to play. Fortnite did come out at a time when Battle Royales were starting to gain popularity. But there was only really PUBG. It's not like it is now where there's like a bunch of different Battle Royale games and there's tons of people like tuned into the fact that this genre is a thing that exists.
Yeah.
Like when Fortnite came out, someone like Keith, who just never plays Battle Royale, you probably wouldn't have known about what the game necessarily was beyond the very basics. And
yeah,
obviously, like now, everybody does because Battle Royale is the new thing. But there was one thing from a different Eurogamer article that I wanted to highlight and discuss, and this is a quote from Drew McCoy. Like I said, you're going to be hearing his name a lot in the first half of this podcast, which is, quote, "Our desire is to be completely open and transparent with our player base, and part of that expands to how we talk about problems, and we understand this game is going to have a skeptical audience. There are some people who think there are too many Battle Royale games or it's a fad. The world thinks we're making Titanfall 3, and we're not. Keep that in mind. This is what we're making. To try and convince a skeptical audience for months with trailers and hands-on articles, we're just like, let the game speak for itself. It's the most powerful antidote to potential problems. We're doing a free-to-play game with essentially loot boxes after we were bought by EA, and it's not Titanfall 3. It's the perfect recipe for a marketing plan to go awry. So why have that? Let's just ship the game and let players play." Well, it definitely worked. But I find it odd that I can't see your eyes. I still can't see them. Technically, never mind. There is some stuff in there that I want to break out and discuss. In that, it almost sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Respawn were afraid to pre-announce this game and have to go through it. Because they're right. Can you imagine if this game was announced at, let's say, E3 last year? As much fun as Apex Legends is and looks, and would look in previews, in trailers, in hands-on, in people doing write-ups for it, the entire narrative for between E3 and now of their marketing campaign probably would have been them defending the decision to make Apex Legends and that they're not making Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
And that sucks. That sucks, but that's apparently where we're up to. That was my take on it. It was very interesting. A very interesting quote on me. Because, yeah, like EA's last big first-person shooter, which was Battlefield 5, did go through months and months of essentially negative hype. Don't sue me. Escape from Tarkov devs. For some justifiable reasons, such as content did appear to be light, and some incredibly unjustifiable reasons, such as historical accuracy. But, yeah, I mean, it we're going to find out later it didn't meet the sales expectations of EA. So what do you think about this way of doing it?
It's definitely worked in its favour. And I've used culture before, the shorter marketing build-up, because on the other hand, like No Man's Sky,
Oh yeah, I mean that was incredibly protracted.
That was protracted, and it bit them in the arse when the game didn't turn out to be what people were expecting.
Yeah, whereas there's no expectations into this. We were told what the game was. We were told what the game was pretty much at the same time we were given the game.
Yeah,
So that was a case of here's the basic facts, go play it, go have fun with it. Cool. It's free as well, so like if you want to just try it out and see what it is, you just download it and play it. So like this isn't a marketing strategy that will work for 98% of other video games.
it didn't work for Tomb Raider.
It did not work for Tomb Raider, but I don't think Tomb Raider were doing it on purpose. Or
Yeah.
rather, I don't think it was the strategy to make sure that nobody knew that Tomb Raider was coming out last year.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Yeah, well, we might talk about Tomb Raider at the end of the podcast, but I really think because he's right about the whole skeptical audience thing. Like we saw it in that. Well, I saw it on social media on that weekend before it was announced. I still see it from people who haven't played the game, and talk about it like they have played the game. And I wish we weren't in that space, you know?
Yeah.
Like of just like people just slandering the game because at the end of the day, Respawn can make whatever the hell they want. Like,
Yeah.
if they're not making Titanfall 3 because they want to make Apex Legends, cool. It's their studio. I'm gutted that they're not making Titanfall 3 right now.
So am I.
But they've had a big success with this game, and I enjoy it, so I'm happy both ways. Even if I didn't enjoy it and it was just that they had a big success with this game, I still would have been happy for them. And I would have just played other games. Because there are a lot of good games out there, guys. But more Titanfall is coming in 2019, according to Respawn Boss. This is where everything went a bit weird in the news cycle. So this is from Austin Wood over at Games Radar, who writes, on the heels of the surprise launch of Apex Legends, a new free-to-play battle royale game set in the Titanfall universe, developer Respawn Entertainment says there's more Titanfall in the pipes. CEO Vince Zampella tweeted that, quote, we are also working on more Titanfall for later in the year, end quote, though he didn't specify what this mystery content is or when it will arrive. EA's latest financial report mentions plans to grow Apex Legends and related Titanfall experiences, so Zampella's teaser may be connected to new content for the fledgling Battle Royale. In any case, whatever it is he's hinting at, it's almost certainly not Titanfall 3. As our sister site PC Gamer reported, Apex Legends project lead Drew McCoy recently confirmed that Titanfall 3 is not in development. Kotaku previously reported that Titanfall 3 is indeed real and was originally scheduled to release in late 2018, so one popular theory is that Titanfall 3 was scrapped and we were reworked into Apex Legends, but it's definitely not an immediate possibility. Zampella confirmed that this mysterious Titanfall project is separate from the studio's VR game in a follow-up tweet. I don't need to read that last sentence. So, because I picked the just absolute wrong news story for that, what was also mentioned was that EA called it premium Titanfall, a premium Titanfall experience in the financial call, and that it would be a twist on the franchise. And the reason I bring those two things is up because I'm now going to ask the question you know I'm going to ask, Keith, is what could this Titanfall experience that's coming out sometime later this year possibly be?
I'm kind of thinking a mobile strategy game set in the Titanfall universe.
There's already a mobile strategy game set in the Titanfall universe. Titanfall something. I can't remember. I used to have it on my phone. I don't anymore. I do this thing with mobile games where I download them and then never play them and then delete them.
Yeah.
Like I always have the intention of playing them, but I never do. It's Titanfall something Assault, or it might just be Titanfall Assault. Don't know if they're going to release a Titanfall something Assault 2. Well, maybe. I don't know. It could be any number of things. When they said it was going to be a twist on the thing, I was like, well, it's definitely not Titanfall 3, because that would be the definition of not a twist.
Yeah.
Like, if they just released the Titanfall 3, but
Yeah.
there
I
could,
was kind of hoping we'd get like Titanfall like 3. I'm just gonna have to wait for Halo.
we've been waiting a while.
I know. Hence the joke.
Just wait for Half-Life 3.
Don't joke, because part of me is thinking that Titanfall's done like Half-Life at this point. That we're not going to get enough.
I mean, it definitely hasn't, because I'm pretty sure that like, because we had 2 Titanfall games and we've already got a spin-off. We've had 2 Half-Life games and we had the episodes. Trust me, it's not going the way. After 10 million players in 72 hours.
Like 10 million players played Apex. I'm like, yes, they'll be able to do like a Titanfall. And then like I'm looking at some of these news outlets, I'm like, unless they decided to double down on a really successful Battle Royale game.
Here's what it could be. The thing is, right? Yeah, you're right. You're right. But we already know more Titanfall stuff is coming now. Like it's It's not like this wasn't a PR spin. This wasn't Drew McCoy in an interview, like going, "Oh yeah, but we're totally working." This was an EA call. EA told this to their investors. The one set of people they're definitely not going to lie to. Because they never do. Let's not forget all the time. Let's not forget all the time about Battlefront 2's loot boxes and all the and all the stuff about how much they had to be in the game because games are expensive to make. Until they called up their investors and they were like, "No, it's cool. It won't affect. We took them out, but it won't affect the profitability of the game."
The thing is, they said this about a couple of things, EA, and it's not true. You had these in the game, it was earning you money. If it's no longer in the game, you're not earning that money that you're expecting to make. So it does affect your profitability, though it doesn't stop the game being profitable.
Exactly. But we're off topic. What?
Yeah,
There's several things.
massive.
There's several things that I think. I mean, it could just be a different type of game. Titanfall experience. What kind of genre that looks like, I have no idea. But it could be that. So Apex Legends, obviously, it's free to play. There are microtransactions. It's basically Overwatch's loot box system. With the cosmetics and stuff. There's some interesting stuff about that, actually. But I'm not going to get into it now because we're going to be talking a lot about this game anyway. Interesting in a bad way, not a good way. And there's going to be a battle pass. So like Fortnite. I don't know how Fortnite's battle pass works, and I don't have it written down, so I'm not going to attempt to cobble together what that could be. But it's the way they talk about it's a premium Titanfall experience. So what I think it might be, and you can quote me on this if you want when I'm absolutely completely wrong, by like December this year, it could be that there's a team at Respawn, because remember they're still working on Star Wars as well, which must be taking up a big chunk of the Respawn team. They could be working on, that's if it doesn't get cancelled by E3. They could be working on more traditional multiplayer modes. So say like, imagine like a DLC. It won't be like a DLC, but imagine just imagine like an add-on pack. So they released Titanfall Deathmatch, and like they bring in like there was like Last Titan Standing and Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, all that stuff. They bring that out as its own thing. Like maybe separately, maybe standalone from Apex Legends, maybe as part of Apex Legends, and it's something like you buy separately. The other one, in exactly the same vein, the other thing I was thinking was, it could just be that they're also making, because they could have reworked Titanfall 3's multiplayer into Apex Legends, but then continued to work on the single player, which could be released in a similar sort of fashion as a separate thing, because the single player campaign in Titanfall 2 was massively well praised.
Yeah.
Because it was amazing. So don't be. That's what I would say. Like if we were doing predictions, I'd say it would be something around one of those two things. Do you think we'll find out about at E3? It'll be. There'll be a whole Respawn section of E3 where it'll be Star Wars. It'll be, hey, here's Apex Legends. We released it. It's doing really well. This is the Battle Pass content that you can expect in the next season. And then there'll be, and this is what we're working on Like we've heard you. We know that people want more Titanfall, traditional Titanfall experiences, and then like you just hear BT's voice as the lights go down, and there's like.
Like rule 1, protect the pilot.
That was awesome. Trust me.
Yes, I was going to like just trust me, just chucks them across.
Yeah. So good. But like that would be where my thinking would be going. I mean, yeah, it could just as easily be a mobile game. Like big publishers like EA tend not to be able to read the room too well. In that, like, if it was some sort of mobile strategy game, it would go down like a fucking lead balloon.
It would go down like Diablo did.
Or Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. Like, there's a place for those games in the market, but not when you've kept people waiting for a traditional experience. And if you're going to bring those things out, don't take them to E3 or BlizzCon. I think is the lesson to be learned here. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, with Command and Conquer, it was like they announced the first Command and Conquer game in a decade, I think, or more, at E3. And then
that incident with China.
Yeah, and with BlizzCon, it was just a case of they could have announced that on the stage, and it would have been fine if they hadn't have made it the big thing at the end of the conference. And even then, the backlash was still a bit OTT. But again, we're off topic. That's what I think. I think Titanfall. I think it could be that they're making the rest of the Titanfall package modular at this point. Maybe. And maybe that's why we'll get the campaign, so all the multiplayer in at the end of the year as a premium purchasable experience. Because then you can have your cake and eat it too, because you've got the Battle Royale that's doing all the money. And then the people who want the Titanfall experience will get the Titanfall experience.
I'm just remembering the attrition and how good it was.
Oh, yeah. Like, for me, if I get one of those two things, plus the Apex Legends stuff, I mean, I'm happy either way. I'm double happy if I get both of those things. If I got all three, game of the year.
If you don't get any of that, then you just have to look forward to stuff like Doom Eternal.
Yeah, it's like, if I don't get any of that, like, I'm gutted that I'm not getting the traditional Titanfall experience, but I've still got Apex Legends, and video games are awesome. Like, and there are tons of great ones. But yeah, we'll see. Probably have to wait until E3 to find out what this premium Titanfall experience is going to be. Right, we're going to read the second to last one about this, and then we're not going to read the last one. The last one is crossplay is coming to Apex Legends at some point, which is a big deal because not many games have crossplay.
Yeah.
And it specifically mentions PC, PS4, and Xbox One, which is good. But the thing we're gonna talk about here is Respawn says EA had no hand in the development of Apex Legends. This is from Javi Gwaltney over at Game Informer, who writes, EA's acquisition of Respawn Entertainment in 2017 ruffled a few feathers and set more than a few Titanfall fans on edge. There's a lot of reasons why, which you can read about here. Didn't delete the hyperlink line. But EA's habit of closing studios like Maxis, Bullfrog, and Visceral Games, as well as its handling of disruptive microtransactions in games like Battlefront 2, are chief among them. During a reveal event for Apex Legends, Respawn's new Battle Royale game, I talked a little with executive producer Drew McCoy during an interview about the acquisition and whether or not it had affected the development of the game. Here's what he said. Quote, "Not to be throwing EA under the bus, but this wasn't the game they were expecting. I had to go to executives and show it to them and explain it and not convince, but more, hey, trust us, this is the thing you want out of us. As a corporation, they can only quantify based on past data, and they've never done anything like this before. There's a giant rainbow question mark over revenue projections for this game. They're like, we don't know, we can't predict. This is a game we had to say, this is what we want to do, help us get there. They had no hand in development or anything about this game." It's one of those things, from what we were talking about before, about the reservations you can already see coming if you work on Apex Legends. And it makes perfect sense, really, that EA wouldn't direct them to make this kind of game. For one, it's free to play.
Yeah.
With microtransactions and season passes and stuff. But yeah, I can totally see EA being nervous about releasing this purely because if you buy Respawn Entertainment last year, like they did, you're expecting they're making the stuff that you've sent them away to as partners. So like Star Wars, their VR project, and Titanfall 3. And EA knows what to do with the Titanfall 3. It's a first-person shooter. Campaign, multiplayer. You release it, and you do a couple of story trailers for the campaign, and you show off all the different multiplayer modes at E3 and this and that and the other. But this must have been entirely uncomfortable for EA. For EA's marketing department, who've never done anything like this before. You've got this intense look on your face right now. No.
I'm just waiting.
Just waiting? That's good.
Yes.
That's good for a co-host of a podcast. I'm just waiting. Staring contest. This is terrible podcasting.
Indeed.
Absolutely awful. But anyway. It's like talking to a wall. That's about crossplay. There we go. Yeah. That. Whatever I was just saying before, I was completely thrown off.
You were talking about how it was outside of EA's normal remit for them to have made a game like this.
Indeed, 100%. And then I was going to roll into something else, but it completely vanished from my mind.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So, Apex Legends, everybody. It's a thing. It's been the big topic of the week.
It's defeated words about games this week.
It hasn't defeated words about games this week. We beat it. Luckily, that's not all the podcast is about. And when I remember the thing, I'll just put the handbrake on whatever we were talking about. But let's move on to Microsoft bringing Xbox Live to Switch and mobile. This is from Hayden Taylor over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Microsoft has inadvertently revealed its plans to bring Xbox Live to Switch and mobile after submitting a session report for GDC 2019. Oh wow, it's earlier than I thought. In the description for a GDC session titled Xbox Live, Growing and Engaging Your Gaming Community Across iOS, Android, Switch, Xbox, and PC, you had one directive. I can just imagine that someone at Xbox.
One directive.
You had one directive on the title. Make it snappy. The platform holder revealed its plans to release a new Xbox development kit. Quote, get a first look at the SDK to enable game developers to connect players between iOS, Android, and Switch, in addition to Xbox, in any game in the Microsoft Store on Windows PC, end quote. That's what the description said. Although Microsoft already requires an Xbox Live login for Minecraft on all other platforms, save for PlayStation, this SDK should allow developers to implement Xbox Live cross-platform support, such as achievements and multiplayers, directly into their games. So yeah, mobile is understandable. And obviously PC, they're already on the PC, so having Xbox Live support, like Xbox Live on the PC as part of the Microsoft Store, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Xbox Live on Switch, though.
That's the one that raises your eyebrow.
Xbox Live on Switch. I mean, you can already sign into Xbox Live on Switch when you play Minecraft, like it says in the story. You can get your achievements and stuff.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Xbox Live on the Nintendo Switch.
I mean, I haven't tried using the the chat service on the Switch because I see what you're saying. The idea of them being surpassed by having Xbox Live on there was the first thing that went through my head. I mean,
I don't know. How great is that? You could play Smash, right?
Yeah.
Or Mario Kart, or Party, or whatever, right? On your Switch. But instead of having to get your fucking phone, whip your phone out and download the Nintendo Switch app and connect the headset to the phone and have your phone while you're trying to play the Switch, you could just sign into Xbox Live and party up. Or you could just do what normal people should be doing and just have Discord somewhere nearby. But
yes.
in the event that that's not a thing, you can just party up in Xbox Live, which works tons better. But I mean, it's kind of cool. Like Nintendo have just like given up on certain aspects of their online service. It seems like not in a bad way, but like this is obviously going to surpass voice chat.
Yeah,
Their ridiculously convoluted voice chat system, achievements on certain games, like they're probably not going to implement an achievement system in like Nintendo first party games via Xbox Live.
yeah.
Maybe they might, who knows? But when you talk, yeah,
You played Smash on Xbox Go.
you have unlocked all of the characters 100G. But the games like Rocket League, for example,
Yeah,
you could use the SDK for Rocket League, like the new SDK to build their achievements. So when you're playing on Switch, you're using the same account, you're unlocking achievements in that game as well as on your Xbox Live account. So it could be cool. Like basically, Microsoft and Nintendo are getting along really well these days.
yeah.
It's very nice to see, and it can't hurt that this to 2019, the year that this is happening, is the year that the Switch is going to surpass Xbox One in sales numbers, and it's going to have Xbox Live on it. Well played, Mr. Spencer. Well played. Seriously, though, consoles are dying, and this is definitely going to be the last console generation because no one's buying consoles. Xbox Game Studios rebranding signals big changes for Microsoft's focus on gaming. This is from Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer, who writes, Microsoft Studios, the umbrella game development organization that includes 343 Industries, the Coalition, Compulsion Games, the Initiative, In Exile Entertainment, Minecraft, I believe that's supposed to say Mojang, Ninja Theory, Obsidian Entertainment, Playground Games, Rare, Turn 10 Studios, and Undead Labs, is being renamed to Xbox Game Studios. Quote, as we've expanded our focus beyond the console, the Xbox brand has also evolved from its original roots. Today, Xbox is our gaming brand across all devices, no matter how or where you want to play or who you want to play with, end quote. The change reflects Microsoft's desire to spread its Xbox wings, and if we're reading between the lines, seems to indicate a dedication to expanding its gaming business beyond the Xbox console. In the past 2 years, Microsoft has committed to putting all its first-party games on PC, and its plans seem to be pointing towards even bigger things, making Xbox Live a platform that extends to all sorts of hardware. Conceivably, Xbox games could follow too. I mean, first off the bat, it's nice to be reading a big list of Xbox Game Studio game developers. Because it wasn't that long ago that this is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Xbox needs developers. And now it's like, Xbox has developers. They have so many developers, including a developer called Minecraft, according to what I'm sure is an obvious typo on this article.
What, you mean like Unled Labs?
Is that what it says? Yeah. Like Unlead Labs. Better than diesel. It's unleaded. It's good for the environment. But
are you tired of your lead-filled zombies?
The question is, did I read it as is written? Or did my brain just overwrite it and say it properly? Because I don't remember.
You said it properly.
Ah, fair enough. But, yeah, so, I mean, this is cool, right? Like, it was Microsoft Studios, now it's Xbox Game Studios. Mm-hmm. So they're not, so they are putting a focus on the name Xbox, on the branding Xbox, which I thought was kind of interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's not like the hugest story ever or anything, but yeah. It's cool that they're going all in on the word Xbox, I guess. Now we just need them sweet, sweet games in the next 3 to 7 years. Because it takes time to make games.
Indeed.
Looking forward to it, though. Okay. We're back on a year. I didn't want to put all this stuff directly following Apex Legends. So I put an Xbox buffer in the middle of it. Basically, there's pretty much only 2 things we're talking about this week.
I warned you to anyone who's still with us.
I mean, it's the news, right? We do a weekly news show. We go where the news is. If this is where the news takes us, this is where the news... It's not my fault.
We're through the looking glass here, people.
It's not my fault, right, that EA released probably the most talked about game of the year so far in the same week they had a financial earnings call.
Yeah.
Like, it's... I can't... If I could control the news, believe me, this show would be a lot different. So would the games industry. EA is not done with Need for Speed or Plants vs. Zombies. New games on the way. This is from Allegra Frank over at Polygon, who writes, Electronic Arts may have suffered a disappointing financial quarter, but at least the company has games in two fan favorite series coming within the next fiscal year. EA Chief Operating and Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen announced to two investors that new Plants vs. Zombies and Need for Speed games are in the works due out by April 2020. I don't need to read the rest of it. We don't care about Need for Speed here. It's not a slight against the series, it's just not something we're into. But Plants vs. Zombies, however. Now, took me a minute to remember this, but we actually pretty much know what this game already is going to be. Because last year we talked about was it a sticker book that leaked the existence of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 3?
Maybe. The sticker book rings the bell.
There was something.
I do remember, I do remember, I remember the two Garden Warfares. I didn't play the second one.
No, this is the thing, right? I liked Garden Warfare. I never really played I was like you, I never really played Garden Warfare 2. It came out at a really weird time.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, I have other things to do. Sorry, I'll call you. But
you never did.
I never did. But Garden Warfare 3, right? Like, when Garden Warfare 2 came out, there was no Battle Royale genre.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart, this is coming from a place of, I really like Garden Warfare, and if the third one comes out, I will play it. But I don't know how smart it is to release Garden Warfare 3. I feel like they've probably been working on it for a while, so they can't just scrap it. But at the same time, it's how many people are going to play this game? Because we're in a kind of a landscape now where we've got so many live service games like Destiny, Anthem, the Division 2's coming out, and then away from that, we've also got Fortnite, Apex Legends, PUBG, Blackout. I guess what I'm trying to ask is there room for Garden Warfare 3?
So, I would think, really, given the young, cute sort of imagery of Garden Warfare in general, only Fortnite really comes close.
I mean, that's a big worry, really.
You know what I mean, though. It's got kid-friendly sort of.
In terms of the yeah, I get what you mean.
Aesthetic.
Yes.
That said, I don't know if there's much of a desire for this game. I didn't really get into the second one, which seemed to be more of an add-on than the new game itself. But then only we played the demo.
Yeah, we played the beta one.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation because Plants vs. Zombies was huge once. I remember when Garden Warfare was announced at E3, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if Garden Warfare was announced for the first time now, it would just be unless the game looks amazing, which I'm sure the game will be good, don't get me wrong, but unless the game looks blow the doors off amazing, everyone will just be like, okay. The brand itself doesn't really have that pull anymore. I feel like kind of hope this isn't Garden Warfare 3. That they're releasing the original, whatever we're up to. Is it 3?
It would be 3. 2 with a mobile game.
Yeah, if they did just Plants vs. Zombies 3 and did it right to kind of bring the franchise back into the consciousness almost. Because I don't know, it's just a bit
if I remember, the second one's pretty much just live for this game. It's like, oh yes, you've gone through X amount of levels. Now, like, pay us like a couple of quid for this new plant.
Yeah, and that sucks. I never played Plants vs Zombies 2. So if that's the deal, then you can keep that deal. I don't know. It's just strange. We'll find out. E3. It sounds like EA is going to actually have things to talk about at this E3, though.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Speaking of things... Yeah. I mean, it won't be like that one time where they just had people sitting in front of computer monitors. Talking about how awesome Star Wars is without showing us any fucking Star Wars games, man. Except Ragtag. Here's the next news story. EA says Battlefield 5 did not meet sales expectations. This is from Jeff Marchiafava. Sorry if I butchered that. Over at Game Informer, he writes, during EA's fiscal earnings call, CEO Andrew Wilson announced that Battlefield 5 missed its sales expectations for the holiday quarter. Wilson attributed Battlefield 5's underperformance to several factors. First was the game's month-long delay from October 19th to November 20th, which pushed the title into a busier holiday season. Wilson also pointed to prioritizing single-player content over Battlefield 5's still unreleased Battle Royale mode as a contributing factor to the poor sales. Later in the call, CFO Blake Jorgensen offered specific numbers. Battlefield 5 has sold 7.3 million copies, putting it 1 million units below the company's expectations. That said, EA touted that 27 million players have played Battlefield games over the past year, and that they are committed to long-term live service for their players. Battlefield 5's Battle Royale mode is set to launch in March. Okay, I have many thoughts. Do you want to say, is there anything you want to say? Because I have a few thoughts on... There's like I can pick this apart a bit.
Yeah.
Every piece of what he said.
I'm just thinking that I don't think that the Battle Royale game like mode that's launching next month is going to bring in as many people as they imagine, because the game's been out a while. There's other big games which are coming out now. Apex Legends just dropped.
There it is. Oh yeah, and you just released a free-to-play battle royale that's tearing the internet apart. Yeah, that is one thing. Like, what they're talking about is, I guess what he's trying to do is he's trying to look at COD, because COD had a bit of a resurgence. I don't know if it was in sales necessarily, although I think it did do more than World War II, but just in terms of reception.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, we made the single player instead of Battle Royale, whereas COD did Battle Royale instead of single player, and COD won. Like, COD was always going to win, but it missed our sales expectations. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, like, the marketing for this game was atrocious. Would be my number one point of call.
Yeah, the fact that a lot of the material they produced for it was sent out with the wrong release date because they delayed the game mustn't have helped with
Definitely
this game.
not.
Because there was a long time those posters should have been up, but they weren't because nobody ever received the thing to put on saying when the game was meant to be out.
Right.
Like
I did not know any of that. October 19th to November 20th, it was delayed 1 month. Here's the thing. The game would have sold substantial, because he even says it in the thing, like, oh, first we delayed it into a busier holiday season by delaying it a month. Listen, Blake, Mr. Jorgensen, Mr. EA CFO, if you hadn't have delayed from the middle of October to November, you would have sold less copies of the game.
Yeah.
Because Red Dead would have killed you.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about that for months leading up to the game. Red Dead's going to kill Battlefield 5.
Mm-hmm.
Even COD moved, because they moved from November. They always release a game in November. They begin at the beginning of November. And this is a game that's released on election day before.
Yeah, and it moved.
And even it moved. It moved to before Red Dead. It was a stroke of genius. Like, what they did. They should have delayed the game further. They should have pushed it to March, because then they would have got out of the way of Red Dead and COD.
Yeah.
They would have been able to release with their single-player content, their multiplayer content, and their Battle Royale content. because one of the perceptions of this game was it was unfinished because there was sections of the game essentially not available yet. And if they'd released in March, they still would have hit the end of their financial year.
Yeah.
The only problem is Anthem.
Yeah. They couldn't have moved Anthem forward.
No. I mean, that was delayed. So it's a whole thing. God, the jigsaw puzzle of when to release your games. I would hate to have to try and solve that puzzle. And lastly, 7.3 million copies is really fucking good. I don't know what the sales are like for Battlefield, the Battlefield series historically, within the first, what's it been? 2.5 months, almost 3 months, but 7.3 million copies is really good. Then it rolls me to the other thing I wanted to talk about, which I didn't put on this list, which was that EA expects Anthem to sell 6 million copies in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
This will end well.
It's going to be an interesting end to the financial year.
I mean, it's possible that it could sell 6 million in 6 weeks. I guess.
Is it plausible?
I don't know if it's plausible or not.
I mean, there's been a lot of interest in the demos and stuff.
I mean, yeah, there's always the demo was open, so it was free. So, if you had EA access, you could get it at the VIP demo, and if you had if you had a games machine, you could get it at the demo the second weekend. The thing about demos is people will, or bears, but I think this was a demo. People will they're all demos, but they actually called it a demo, which was nice. Demo, yeah. I think people will just jump in. I remember before Ghost Recon Wildlands came out, I played the beta of that game with Russell and Tom. Now, Russell and Tom have no interest whatsoever in playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, but we all played it together because it was free and it was something we could do. I think 6 million is a tall order for a brand new IP.
Yeah.
In 6 weeks, anyway. So I guess to use that to circle back to the point of the original article, I think EA needs to not be, I don't know, maybe they just need to be not so optimistic with their sales projections, because these are big numbers. Speaking of big numbers, the next 2 news stories, I'm going to do something we've never done on the Gamescast before, because I think these are quite big news stories worthy of talking about. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them in my pocket, and I'm going to keep them until next week.
Oh dear. I mean, okay.
I just feel like with all the Apex Legends stuff, it was that was the stuff that we needed to do at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
And then you've got things like Disney's relationship with EA and Activision layoffs. The Activision layoffs ones especially, since it's a report at the moment and we'll find out on Tuesday what's happening. So I feel like we can just easily just push that and say, we'll talk about it next week. Because especially on that second news story, I have many thoughts. Most of them are not flattering towards Activision Blizzard.
It really didn't look flattering in that.
No, it does not. But we'll find out on Tuesday and we'll talk about it next week. Instead, let's talk about the new 2K studio helmed by Dead Space creator, which is making a mysterious game. This is from Jordan Remy over at GameSpot, who writes, Take-Two Interactive Software has announced the game industry veteran Michael Condrey has joined 2K Games as the head of a new Silicon Valley-based studio. Currently unnamed, the studio will be working on a new unannounced project. Quote, At 2K, we offer our collective audience a variety of engaging and captivating entertainment experiences. We continually seek opportunities to empower and invest in the right people and ideas. Michael's unparalleled creative, production, and leadership accolades are well documented and deserved. We are greatly inspired not only by his passion, but the potential for his studio to complement our existing portfolio and development expertise, end quote. Previously, Condrey co-founded Sledgehammer Games, which is responsible for several well-received Call of Duty games, specifically Modern Warfare 3, Advanced Warfare, and World War II. 2 of those games were well-received. Prior to that, Condrey led the Visceral team on a very different type of game, 2008's Dead Space. More than 10 years later, the influence of Dead Space, yeah, including some Resident Evil, which basically that kind of sides into, like, again, we talked about this with Apex Legends, like, developers can make any kind of game they want, but how cool would it be as survival horror is starting to creep back in to being a thing if one of the dudes who co-created Dead Space was making, like, some Dead Space spiritual successor? How cool would that be? How cool would that be? You watched me play Dead Space. Huh?
I've seen you play bits of Dead Space.
Yeah. You were here when I was playing Dead Space.
Like Dead Space 3, I think.
No, you definitely watched me playing the first one years and years ago.
It was the first one. The first one, like, there was something going on with them. That was the end of the first one, wasn't it?
I think that was all of them. But Dead Space is a fantastic game. World War II, I like the campaign. But then I didn't really play Call of Duties until recently for anything other than the campaign. I like this news. I hope that it means we get something horror related. If we don't, cool. Make whatever you want, but if you make a Dead Space spiritual successor, that would be neato. Somebody needs to, and EA is not going to do it. Unless they make it into a Battle Royale game. Battle Royale with necromorphs? A horror Battle Royale, that would be quite an interesting one.
I'm just envisioning every time you kill an opponent, instead of looting weapons and stuff on them, you loot body parts, which increases, like an extra, like, attack length for melee, longer reach with your, like, tentacle-like tongue.
So you, like,
projectile things of bones that you can shoot out.
Augmenting yourself.
Yeah.
And, like, the circle could just be an encroaching, like, enemies. Encroaching necromorphs. If we just take it all the way and use the Dead Space thing. So, like, if you're too close to the edge, the necromorphs will come in to get you.
I was actually thinking of you playing as a necromorph, but fair enough.
Interesting. Playing as a necromorph, and you kill other necromorphs, and then you get their stuff, and then you make yourself even better.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop talking now because we might need to we might need to write some of this shit down. Keith, I put the last two news stories in specifically for you, including the first one. Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and more PC classics make console debuts later this year. This is from Honest, got over at Polygon, who writes, a slew of classic computer role-playing games, that's one way to put it, including Planescape Torment, Neverwinter Nights, and multiple entries in the Baldur's Gate series, will be playable on consoles for the first time later this year. Beamdog, the developer behind the existing PC editions of these titles, announced the news Thursday in conjunction with Skybound Games. The ports will be the enhanced versions of Baldur's Gate, originally launched in 1998, Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn, Baldur's Gate, Siege of Dragonspear, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, and Planescape Torment. All of these enhanced editions were published by Beamdog on PC between 2012 and 2018. The news did not give a launch date for any of the 6 titles, nor did it specify which consoles would be getting them. When these games do release, they'll be sold online through Skybound's website and at retail. You like Neverwinter Nights, don't you?
Yeah. I spent an awful lot of time playing Neverwinter Nights and a couple of its expansions on PC.
Awesome. I mean, I didn't put this in because I thought, Keith, go out and get Neverwinter Nights for your PS4 or your Xbox One.
No.
Or your Switch, actually. That would be pretty cool. But it was just because, yay, Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah.
And lastly, we've got the news coming out of the latest Inside Xbox episode, which was last autumn's Shadow of the Tomb Raider will join Game Pass starting February 7th. This is from Ethan Gach over at Kotaku, who writes, last autumn's Shadow of the Tomb Raider will join Xbox Game Pass starting like 2 days ago. Pumped BMX Pro and the first season of The Walking Dead will also get added that day. Crackdown 3, The Blob, and Batman Return to Arkham Collection will follow later in the month. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is in Game Pass?
Yeah.
Didn't take long?
Yeah.
Do we...
I mean, they gave up on the game before it was released, so...
It certainly felt that way. Allegedly.
Well, yeah, they changed the ending in the day one patch to prevent like any indication of a sequel.
Yeah, I remember that was a weird story, wasn't it? Someone had basically played it without the day one patch and seen a different ending. Yeah, I remember that. That was weird. But yeah, I mean, allegedly they gave up on the game. I mean, you can say with that's proof that they gave up on the series.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't market the game very much before the game came out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely suppose that they were like, whatever, just put it out.
This is the weird thing. Is like I remember, like 6 months before it came out, that there was a couple of things at some shows where they did like you could play part of the first level or something. And they did some like marketing then, and then before it came out, the day I bought it, on the day it came out, other people who worked at like a store with sold games were like, "Oh, I hadn't realized that was coming out." Or when did that come out? And it's like, yeah,
Tomb Raider is cursed, I think, the series. And the curse is it always comes out right around something almost like once in a generation.
Yeah.
Shadow came out, Red Dead Redemption 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
Rise came out right when Fallout 4 was coming out. Like, I feel like Tomb Raider is cursed. Like, it will always come out right when, like, something like that's not going to happen again for like a decade. Fallout 76 doesn't count. Like, so I just realized what I'd said, but yeah, like I feel like it's a shame. Like, I guess at least they're trying to get people to play it. And the good thing about Game Pass is, as we've both seen when we've read news stories about Game Pass, is it seems to do quite a good job of getting people to play games. Yeah. And somehow, and I still haven't worked this out, but don't think I haven't been trying ever since last year. Somehow increases sales of games.
Yeah.
Like Forza Horizon 4, best-selling Forza Horizon game ever, despite the fact that it's on Game Pass. Like, you worked that one out for me, because I'm like the meme from It's Always Sunny, you know, where he stood in front of the whiteboard and he's got the things and the string and all of the pieces of paper, and I'm trying to figure it out. I can't. It being in a Netflix style subscription service increases its sales. I got nothing. Keith, let's do games out this week and then get the fuck out of here.
Get out of there.
I feel like I've done this podcast at least 1.3 times.
Yeah. Okay, so on February the 12th, we have coming out The Kingsbird on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, as well as Trials Rising on the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And I'm pretty sure my brother will be playing at least one of those games.
Yes. The Kingsbird, right? No way, he's a big Trials fan.
Yep.
You go down to where I've just separated them, and then I'll take the last half.
Right. Okay, so we have Earthshade on PC from February the 13th. On February the 14th, otherwise known as Valentine's Days, guys, we have A Degree of Separation on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. I'm guessing that's not, multiplayer compatible. Space War Arena on Switch also comes out on.
Here's the one, though. February 15th, 2019. We've talked about this date before.
Yeah.
Many times on the podcast. On February 15th, 2019, we have Metro Exodus on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, Crackdown 3 on PC and Xbox One, Far Cry New Dawn on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, Jump Force on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and if you have EA Access or EA Origin Premier, you can play Anthem on PC and Xbox One. Keith? Who's going to survive the bloodbath? February 15th is going to be February 15th is its own version of a battle royale.
Yeah. It is going to be a bloodbath. Is there going to be a winner? I don't know.
I don't think there can be. There are a couple of games in there I'd say would do well. Crackdown 3 might suffer from being in Game Pass, just purely because people who have Game Pass can just go, I'll put that off.
Yeah.
While I play something else. Jump Force is going to have its own dedicated fan base.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be fine. Far Cry, Metro, and Anthem. Because people who have got EA access or Origin access Premier are going to be playing Anthem.
Yeah.
So then you've got Metro and Far Cry. I hope Metro does well. It looks so good. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Because they really needed to get that fucking game out of February. Anyway, that's going to do it for episode 145 of the Words About Gamescast. I have no idea whether we're under, over, or on time. Because we had to restart the podcast. It's like 10, 15 minutes in. And my sense of time has just been skewed beyond imagination. Yeah, sure, let's go with beyond imagination. Say bye, Keith.
Bye, Keith.